The airport is closing? Si, senora. We close so we can clean the terminal. But my ride to San Miguel de Allende isn't here yet. The terminal agent shrugged. My problems were not his problems. The flight to Leon had taken off an hour late. I arrived at Del Bajío Airport at 11 p.m. and thankfully found my luggage a half hour later. One by one, other passengers on the flight had picked up their bags and disappeared into the night. I'd searched in vain for someone holding a cardboard placard with my name on it and had waited patiently at first, convinced that whoever was picking me up was merely running late. After an hour, pacing in front of the airport's glass doors, I had my doubts. I hesitated to telephone the Buckleys. When I'd called from Mexico City to tell them about the second delay, Olga had assured me it was no problem. Carlos would be there to pick me up. He was a little flaky, she admitted, but he'd always come through for them. They would be out earlier in the evening at a party, but were planning to be home to greet me. In fact, they would leave the front door unlocked, just in case they got delayed. My guest room, straight ahead at the top of the stairs, was already made up. They'd see me in the morning. Reluctantly, I dialed them again to tell them of my predicament, but they weren't home. I left a message on the answering machine. There is a bench outside, senora. You are welcome to sit there till your driver comes, the agent said. I had visions of sleeping or not sleeping on a bench outside the airport terminal. And how would I recognize Carlos if he eventually showed up? I didn't even know his last name, much less what kind of car he drove. Can you call a taxi to take me to San Miguel de Allende? I asked. They're all gone. Gone? Si, senora. The passengers from your flight, they take them all. There are no more taxi cabs here. They know we clean the terminal now. Is there a hotel within walking distance? All the hotels in the city are full, he shrugged again. It's the tourist season. A man who had been mopping the floor called across the terminal to the agent, who cocked his head to one side. A brief debate ensued, but I had no idea what they spoke about. Okay, the agent finally said, turning to me. Pablo's son will drive you. My faith in the goodness of people soared. It has often been my experience that when someone needs help, someone else will step forward to offer it. In my travels, I've learned that people are the same the world over. Some good, some not. But most are generous, friendly, and willing to provide assistance, even if they haven't been asked. It certainly was true of my hometown of Cabot Cove. People in Maine can be standoffish to those they don't know, but if someone needs help, even a stranger, they will be the first to extend a hand. I gave the man with the mop a grateful smile. Gracias, I said. De nada, he said, leaning his mop against the wall and drawing a cell phone from a holster hooked to his belt. He spoke into the phone, frowned, and raised his voice. Holding the phone between his shoulder and his ear, he looked up at me and raised both hands, showing 10 fingers. 10 minutos. 10 minutes. I heaved a sigh of relief. You can wait on that bench, the agent said. I will tell you when Juanito is here. I thanked the agent, rolled my suitcase over to the wooden bench near the terminal entrance, sat down, and rummaged in my shoulder bag for the notebook in which I'd written Olga and Vaughan's San Miguel street address and telephone number. I tore a blank sheet from the book, wrote the Buckley's address on it, and tucked the book back in my bag. Juanito arrived 15 minutes later. He couldn't have been more than 17. A lanky boy with jet black hair sticking up in spikes on the top of his head, he wore blue jeans, sandals, and a green Tommy Hilfiger t-shirt. He looked as if he'd just gotten out of bed, and given the yawn he'd tried to stifle, I suspected that might actually have been the case. I felt two things. Sorry that his father had had to awaken him to accommodate me, and grateful that I would not have to spend the night in the airport. Juanito jingled his car keys in front of my face. San Miguel de Allende, see? See, I said.